sorry, I can't play that. It's a copyrighted song, so that means this video might get demonetized if I keep playing it. YouTube can be pretty strict about that kind of stuff. You can't show certain things that may be too sensitive for viewers, you can't say certain words or phrases, especially when it comes to profanity. Like, you can't say or even I actually don't really know if that last one was a curse word, but it sounds dirty. But also, YouTube doesn't like it if you use any type of copyrighted music, especially when the specific song claimed it was a non-copyrighted and free to use. You gotta check for those ones. Just stick to royalty-free. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I want to discuss how sometimes copyrighted songs can interfere with physical media releases. Whenever you watch your favorite movie or TV show, they tend to use famous and popular songs from various artists and bands. They can either be a recognizable tune people may remember from the 1970s, 80s, 60s, and so on. Whether it fits the tone of the story's setting or not, they use it to mostly get people's attention spans up. If people recognize it, they'll know what it is because it's popular or they hear it all over the place. When it comes to movies, it's no problem. The company that released the movie had already paid the royalties for any songs they want to use from other artists. But with TV shows, apparently it's different. Now, I don't really know much about the whole legality of how copyrighted music works in terms of usage rights with TV shows, but when it comes to TV shows being released on physical media, I find it to be a serious issue. If they were originally released on TV the way they were with whichever song they used on a specific episode, I say it should be fair to stay intact just the way it is. If a movie can keep songs, why can't a TV show? Let's look at a few examples I managed to find for myself. This was the first release on the complete series of ALF back from 2004. This entire box set was great. Not perfect, but it's good. Watching the main menus with ALF all the way through till it's over and then it guides you towards the episodes was always something to look forward to every time you put it in a different disc in your DVD player. Even though I really enjoyed the series as a kid, looking back at it, it did have a few flaws. For one, the pilot episode immediately started like it was in the middle of something, but it started at a freeze frame. Then it would just start from there. At least with the fourth disc of Season 1, it included the extended and unreleased pilot, so it would give more context as to what was even going on. In fact, a couple episodes really began with Alf doing something in the background without any context given. For another, some of the episodes didn't seem to be in the right order. For example, in Season 3, after watching the episode where they introduced a third child into the Tanner household, a few episodes later, they were telling a newly introduced character that Kate was pregnant, even though we just saw that newborn baby prior to it. It made no sense to me, and when I was younger, it always bothered me. Plus, that one episode where Alf and Willie were on the boxcar train, it ended so abruptly. I always wondered, how did they ever get off the train? I even remember scouring the olden days of YouTube, discovering poor quality videos and even strange images of another Melmacian, but with the videos I found, they were dubbed over in a different language. Why wasn't this footage in this ALF DVD set? How come it didn't even include the TV movie Project ALF? Why did some of the animated episodes only release certain ones that were released separately from the set? Well, thankfully, our prayers were answered when Shout Factory managed to re-release ALF in a deluxe edition box set, just as they were originally broadcast. The set not only included the TV movie and the entire animated series, it includes every episode the way they were originally broadcast on TV. Now, certain episodes give better context with specific scenes. Also, the episodes still may not be in perfect chronological order, but it's fine. It just makes up for the episodes from being unedited. The only flaws it suffers from, unlike its first set, it has no gag reel, no entertaining menus to watch, nor the extended unreleased pilot episode. The main differences in these episodes, besides the unedited scenes, and aside from a couple different camera angles, were any songs used in a majority of episodes. So just because they used a copyrighted song or even just sing a familiar tune of a song, it was cut from the episode, or it would have been replaced with a generic royalty-free music on the original DVD release. Which is ironic because literally almost every episode of ALF is named after a song. But on the other hand, I can understand why the first DVD release cut out some of the scenes from episodes. Some scenes and lines felt unnecessary from the plot, but at the same time they really should have kept specific ones in to keep the context intact. perhaps they were just thinking about keeping enough space on the discs for storage at the time. So years later, after knowing lots of these episodes by heart after watching them so many times throughout my lifetime, now it just feels so taboo to watch them the way they were originally. But seeing scenes that are extended really makes the episode seem much better. Help Me Rhonda, for example, extended a flashback that actually shows the day Al's planet blew up, along with the scene where Skip and Rhonda were on the spacecraft. And we hadn't even seen Rhonda prior. As a kid, I always thought this waitress character was Rhonda. We would even get to see how Alf and Willie got off the train after all, but we didn't get to see it just because the original release cut out the entire scene, only because they used a copyrighted song. And if I'm being completely honest, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that it would take this long just to have every episode intact, all because tons of episodes use copyrighted songs. Now, I get it, they need to pay royalties and all that stuff, but good grief, it's just so dumb. Just release it with no hassle, the way it originally aired on TV. Regular Show recently released their entire series on DVD just fine with no issues, so how come they got away scot-free? They used quite a handful of various copyrighted songs, and yet the Drew Carey Show with its recent complete series DVD set releasing, they still haven't been able to release every episode, all because the majority of episodes use copyrighted songs. Some episodes would have songs replaced or altered from their original broadcast versions. Plus, the episodes that won't be included in the set are Drew Carey's Dance Party Special, Drew Carey's Back to School Rock and Roll Comedy Hour, Parts 1 and 2, and What's Love Got to Do with It? So who knows, maybe 15 years from now they'll release a deluxe edition too, and they'll be able to have the ability to release every episode and all the episodes intact with those copyrighted songs, because for the longest time, all we had was just the first season on DVD. It's just absolutely irritating how strict copyrighted music is when it comes to TV shows. Why don't movies have to go through that? Is it because movies are normally just over an hour or 2.5 hours long, considered to be a shorter runtime than a majority of TV shows? Probably. Again, I don't know the whole technicality in terms of these ludicrous copyright rules. Here's another example, Ultraman Tiga. This was the original box set released in 2003. I already discussed this exact issue before. This specific box set is a bit of a rare gem to get 100% complete, mainly because Volume 3 is the rarest DVD set from the rest for whatever reason. But they were all sold separately and had all the episodes intact. But once Mill Creek had acquired the rights to release the Ultraman series on Blu-rays and DVDs, they managed to re-release the entire series of Ultraman Tiga on DVD again. However, they couldn't use the original theme song Take Me Higher or even certain background music that sounded similar to the song. That's why they didn't even include the other film, The Final Odyssey. All just because of music rights, which is a huge letdown because it gives a good story between the main characters from the show, and even the front cover still says specials plural. Always something, and in the end it always comes down to those stupid copyrighted songs. Here's another example I know about. Ever watch the show Daria? Did you know that she started off as a side character in the Beavis and Butthead? Well, after they acknowledged she moved away, apparently she got her own series without creator Mike Judge's knowledge of it even happening. But I'm pretty sure he didn't even care about Daria doing her own thing. She was just a minor character from the show anyways. But with her own TV show, it suffered a similar fate in terms of copyrighted songs. As the insert reads, and I quote,
"Dear beloved consumer, finally, the complete Daria in an officially sanctioned box set. It's the answer to every Die-Hard fan's dreams. Which, given the makeup of Die-Hard Daria fandom, means it's an opportunity for them to kick off a raging, decades-long debate over the collection's merits and, by extension, each other's validity as human beings. So let's answer the big question right away. 99% of the music has been changed, because the cost of licensing the many music bytes we used would have made it impossible to release the collection, and for many years did. So, no, these aren't the shows as aired, but more like one of those astronauts in a Twilight Zone episode who returns from space and his wife can't figure out what's changed about him, until it slowly dawns on her that instead of a cool song from 1997 playing when he walks into the room, it's some tune she's never heard. Yeah, it's just like that. To put it bluntly, replacing the music had to be done. Does that mean this box set is compromised? Season 1 Daria would have said, yes. Season 5 Daria would have said, shut up and pass the remote. Let the raging begin. What this collection does have is all the episodes, in the highest quality, most complete versions that could be found, the 2 movies, extras like the Seal with a Kick Animity, the Freakin' Friends video and the Daria Day intros, interviews with some, but by no means all, of the people who contributed to making the show so much fun to create and watch, and a bunch of other things of interest to the Uber fan. Casual fans and Daria first-timers can ignore the extras. There will be no quiz. Finally, many thanks to the people at MTV Home Entertainment, who worked long and hard to dig up and assemble the elements necessary to make this package possible. I'm looking forward to watching these shows again, and I hope you are too. Glenn Eichler, show creator.
So, yeah. Again, the irony strikes back from a network titled MTV, back when music television was actually related towards music videos. Now, I think you understand now how troubling it is for certain TV shows to remain intact. Another example would be in the show WKRP in Cincinnati, where certain episodes contained a few copyrighted songs, which makes sense as a show about a radio station, and only certain episodes were able to get the rights to specific songs. So it seems that having to get the rights from artists like Elvis Costello, Ray Charles, the Rolling Stones, and other artists' permission to use their songs to release a DVD sounds pretty complex and difficult, even when the artist may downright refuse entirely. Another good one was with the series Married with Children. When it first released on DVD, they couldn't get the rights to the opening theme song of Frank Sinatra's Love and Marriage, which was the main recognizable theme from the entire show. But thankfully, with Mill Creek re-releasing the entire series, it's fully intact. A bit of an obscure example. From a lost story from the many lost episodes of classic 1960s Doctor Who, the story The Evil of the Daleks plays Paperback Writer by the Beatles in the background in a cafe scene. But years later, when the BBC planned to release this story commercially, they encountered copyright issues, of course, so they would have to try to digitally erase the song out of the surviving audio track of an already lost story, with episode 2 of the only story being the only one fully intact as of now. So, when the story was released on DVD and Blu-ray, they couldn't get the song. Ironically, a similar fate happened with the story Remembrance of the Daleks, where in the background you would have heard another Beatles song, Do You Want to Know a Secret? Now, look, I can understand you need to pay royalties to use recognizable songs for your show or movie to make it popular or memorable. But in all honesty, if the show had already paid the royalties back when it first originally aired, in all fairness, I think they should just stay fully intact just the way they are if they were to release them on physical media, let alone streaming services. If movies can stay the way they are by keeping popular music in them, why can't the same go for TV shows? Honestly, it's just silly, especially for any shows that were made in the past. Again, I'm no legal historian or know the whole ins and outs about how music royalties work with those, but it just irritates me. Which is probably one of the main reasons why certain shows haven't been released on physical media yet, to get those rights cleared or royalties paid, which is mainly why it took The Drew Carey Show so long to get a complete series on DVD to release. What do you think? Do you think there should be new rules to something like this? Can you think of other examples to certain TV shows or even movies that are heavily edited because of copyright issues like music? Do you know the whole technicality of royalties for TV shows, of how they work? Drop them in the comments, let's talk about it. Hope you enjoyed. By the way, regardless if it's heavily edited or not, I'm still going to get the complete series of Drew Carey because I've wanted to see that show for a long time.